Hello everyone! Today I will explain about tax audit in Indonesia. But before we go to the next materials, I will introduce myself. Hi, I'm April. I'm from D3 Tax Accounting in Trisakti University. Okay, so the table of content for today is I will explain about related regulation about tax audit. Second, I will explain about the definition of tax audit. Third, I will explain about the scope of tax audit. And fourth and the last is purpose of the tax audit. Okay, so the related regulation. Provision regarding tax audit have been regulated in Law Number 6 of 1983 concerning general provision and procedure for taxation, as they have undergone several changes until most recently regulated in Law Number 7 of 2021 concerning harmonization of tax regulation, or as we know as HPP Law. Okay, the next is definition of tax audit. So, tax audit or inspection is a series of activities. First is collect and process data, information, and or evidence carried out objectively and professionally based on a standard inspection to test compliance with tax obligation and or for other purpose in order to implement statutory provision taxation. That's regulated in Article number 1, Section 25 KUP Law. And the purpose of tax audit is first to test taxpayer compliance with the fulfillment of the tax obligation, and second is other purpose according to the provision of tax law regulation. Okay. Authority to do inspection. So, the Director General of Tax has the authority to conduct audit, to test taxpayer compliance with tax obligation and for other purpose in order to implement the provision of tax law and regulation. This is regulated in Article 29, Section 1 of the KUP Law. The next is the type of tax audit. So there is two types of tax audit, and there is field inspection and office inspection. What is field inspection? Field inspection is carried out at the residence or the place of domicile of the taxpayer, the place of business activity or employment free of the taxpayer, the location of the tax object or the domicile of the tax subject or taxpayer for land or and buildings tax audit, and or other places that are considered necessary by the examiner tax. And the office inspection is done in the office the Director General of Tax. Okay, the next is the scope of inspection or tax audit for testing compliance. The rule space is inspection for one or more types tax. This is the tax is one or more types of tax other than annual corporate or individual tax income, and for one or several tax period, tax year section, or tax years. And inspection for all types of tax or all tax is the scope is all tax from income tax, VAT, and more. And this is due in tax year section or tax years, both last year and current years. In the event that the annual corporate or individual income tax return is audited, the scope of the audit covers all types of tax. The next is the criteria of inspection for testing compliance. So there is a second criteria. Two criteria. First is routine inspection and second is special inspection. The routine inspection is carried out in connection with the fulfillment of the taxpayer's right and or implementation of his tax obligation. And then special inspection is there's other information in the data form of concrete data from audit based on data and analyze risk based on audit. So the other information in the form of concrete data is carried out on taxpayer who are based on other information in the form of concrete data that show indication of non-compliance in fulfilling tax obligation. And analysis risk-based audit is carried out on taxpayer based on the result risk analysis show indication of non-compliance in fulfilling tax obligation. Okay, so the criteria for inspection for testing compliance. There's regulate in Article 4, Minister of Finance Regulation Minister Finance Regulation 17 PMK 03 2013 and PMK number 184 PMK number 3 2015 Section 1 is taxpayer who apply for refund of tax overpayment up to Article 17B of the KUP law. 2 is there is other information in the form of concrete data up to Article 13 Section 1 letter A of the KUP law. C. Taxpayer submit statements starting overpayment other than those submitting requests for refund of tax overpayments. D. Taxpayer who have been granted a preliminary return tax overpayment. E. Taxpayer submit tax returns starting loss. F. Taxpayer carried out merger, consolidation, expansion, liquidation, disbandment, or will leave Indonesia for forever. G. Taxpayer make change to the financial year or method bookkeeping or due to revaluation of assets still. H. The taxpayer doesn't submit the tax return but exit at the time period specified in the warning letter selected for audit based on risk analysis. Or taxpayer submit the tax return that is selected to be carried out examination based on risk analysis. And for Section 2 is provision regarding risk analysis. Section 1 letter H and I are implemented in accordance with regulatory provision legislation. Okay, so the next is examination criteria for other purposes. First is issuance of taxpayer identification number and or confirmation of taxable enterprise position. 2. Removal of NBWP or taxpayer identification number, both on application and its person position. 3rd, revocation of taxable enterprise inauguration, both petition and formal position. 4th, taxpayer fill objection. 5. Gathering materials for preparation and PPN. 6. Data or tools matching information. 7. Determination of taxpayer located in the region isolated. 8. Determination of one or more outstanding place VAT. 9. Inspection for billing purpose tax. 10. Determination of production time started. 11. Extension of the period for compensation for loss in connection with the provision of facilities taxation. 12. Fulfill information requests from partner countries of tax treaty. Okay, that's all that I can explain about tax audit. Hopefully that the materials that I explained is useful for all of us. Thank you and see you for the next explanation. Bye-bye.